I think the first thing that's going to happen is most software is going to be made for agents, not humans, particularly all the APIs on the internet and that kind of stuff. But the other thing is, I think at the human interface level, I think we're kind of in the race for the last app that will ever exist. You won't need more than one. You only need one app.
Well, really, you say app, but do you mean agent? Will you be experiencing the world through your agents?
Yes, exactly. So it's like you have an app which has your chat to your agent, but it's also the space where your agent creates interfaces for you.
Right, on demand.
On demand.
What's cool is, I mean, and again, this is not even my area. I haven't gone super deep here, but there's been some really cool work that's kind of old now. It's like a year, even longer, showing there's models, diffusion models that can stream pixels.
Oh.
So it like might literally be a model as part of some, little agent orchestration, but there's some process that's like getting data from your email, social, whatever kind of data it is. But then what you see, it might look like an app, it might look like everything you have, but you're directly interfacing with the outputs of a neural network that's just streaming pixels. So instead of an LLM producing a sequence of tokens, these models produce basically a sequence of pixels, which will be the whole screen.
Wild.
Yeah, which you know what happens then? So then user interfaces are just prompts. So if you're a designer, and now we know, like, I remember when these things were just coming online, ChatGPT was released, there was the term prompt engineer was invented and started being used. There was this thing about like, it was almost like writing prompts was this kind of grunt work.
Right.
But now I think it's really like, if you find a really good prompt, I mean, that's like a really respectable thing because there's this infinite space of prompts. And to find a prompt that is efficient and gets you what you want, to gets the model to do what you want, it's kind of like a new kind of programming, et cetera, like these prompts. So for designers with these kinds of models, they essentially would iterate until it meets the taste and aesthetic and like design qualities that they are happy with. But then to ship it to users, they just bundle the prompt. So all you would have to do to get a curated, well-designed experience from another developer is the visual prompt of how the model should render the data, and then you need access to the data itself.
So the app of the future is just like 10 markdown files that explain what to do.
Yeah, I think literally we might just be like, literally we could just enter a world where the number one app on your phone is just this neural network streaming to you. And there's some stuff happening in the background to like process the data, to put it, to like get it ready.
Right.
However you want to interact and experience it. And when downloading a new app is just a data source plus a visual experience prompt.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has the potential to fix the internet. This is something we're working on at Vora, to fix doom scrolling, all of it, because basically, imagine like we're gonna get rid of all the apps.
There's no more apps. Like, everything's custom.
Everything, but also the apps are annoying.
Tell me how you really feel.
And the web pages. Especially how fragmented it is. Like, how much time do we spend swapping between things? I got to copy and paste from this email and paste into the calendar. And then, I got to get the Google Meet link from this, and there's like all this juggling that's happening throughout the day between the apps, between the accounts, between the browser tabs. It sucks. And it's worse than that. It's worse than that because we don't own our digital lives. It's fragmented amongst all these like data silos and feudal lords that like have a piece of us. Google has a piece of me, Facebook has a piece of me. And so this whole thing with the agents is going to change that. especially when we make them self-sovereign and we do it the Bitcoin way. Because what's going to happen is the agent's going to go out there and it's going to get all the data, and it's going to go reclaim it. And then now it can build the interface like you're describing.
Yeah.
Right. But now it's on my terms. So what do I want my social media feed to be? First of all, I want it to be aggregated. I don't want to have to like check TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and blah, 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 Nostr, all the feeds. I've got 10 different feeds, 10 different accounts.
You can't even keep up anymore.
You can't keep up. There's a bunch of stuff in there I don't want to see. It's their algorithm. There's ads. There's, they're trying to monetize my attention by like showing me the things that are going to piss me off or going to like excite me or whatever. So with this, imagine having your feed. It has all the data from all the different sources. You decide how it's organized, how it's presented to you, how it's filtered, what the algorithm is. You see everything you want to see, and you don't see anything you don't want to see. And that is the final social media app. And you'll never switch to another app again. That's end game for the apps.
Well, and then the wonderful thing is you just need infrastructure to transport that data. Like I need a way to get data from you. You need a way to get data from me. Could be a Nostr relay, could be some other server architecture, whatever. And then you just need whatever the computation, maybe it's not even tokens, but you need some kind of computation to do the filtering and aggregation and really to exclude all the stuff you don't want to see. But I feel like it could give us incredible agency.
Oh yeah.
Like it really feels like already it feels like to me that if I like going on any social media platform directly and using their app, it feels adversarial.
Totally agree.
I just, there's this like mindset, like you really have to take more responsibility for your life and your mind. And I don't know, I'm a millennial, and like growing up, like, I don't know, just like when I was younger, it appeared like a lot of the systems were working in general for like a lot of the people, but it's really not the case. I mean, there's this point about like the supermarket, right? You go in the supermarket, like you shouldn't eat anything in the middle. You should only eat what's on the edges.
Oh,
because everything in the aisles is like canned or processed, and like it's not a hot take to say processed food is bad for you,
right.
But like it's certainly not made to look like it's bad for you.
Makes it look like it's good for you.
And I mean, first of all, it's delicious. Like, right? A lot of those things are delicious, but in some ways it's I can't help but feel like that's adversarial. I feel like this online social media apps directly interacting with though, it's almost like you wouldn't go into like freezing water for long periods of time without a wetsuit. It's like you wouldn't go into space without a spacesuit. Why are you going on social media directly?
Right.
If you don't, like, you need to wrap yourself in an agent to protect your like mind and emotions and time and your mental thinking,
100%. And I think everybody feels that, everybody complains about their devices. Everybody complains about social media. Everybody complains about the big tech companies. There's all this nostalgia for the 90s. There's all this feeling of like, it's not better now, it's worse. We wish we didn't have the devices. We wish we didn't have the social media like that. When's the last time you heard somebody say like, wow, I love social media?
Yeah.
I love my device. Like, and I think there's a reason for that. And it's everything you're talking about. And there is this way in which we have this digital life that we don't own. We don't own the data. So there's these shards of ourself, and they are a part of us, but they're owned by some corporation that has a piece of us. And then there's this energetic tie where they're using that piece of us to extract money and attention And that's what we feel when we use the app. We feel this kind of extraction coming out of us, and we're getting something from it, and then, you know, it's entertaining or whatever, but something's kind of they're getting something in return, and it doesn't really feel good. But there's really nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? You're just not gonna use the internet, like,
Yeah, come on, let's be real.
I know some people are trying that, and, you know, good luck, but this is something where if you want to be a part of society, if you want to be a part of the economy, if you want to have a job, like, you can't really opt out. And so we're all kind of stuck in this thing that nobody likes. And I think when people think about AI, I think a lot of the hatred and resistance to AI is it looks like it's just an acceleration of that trend. So you say, we didn't like what happened with the phones, and now big tech, you're going to give us the AI, and now we're going to completely lose our humanity, and we're going to be totally controlled, totally manipulated, totally surveilled. And people are saying, no, you know, we don't want to keep going in this direction. So,
I mean, one of the things that's so fascinating about this is that I think I did a half semester course, like a little mini elective course when I was undergrad on cryptography. Thought it was so cool. Yeah, kind of, you know, being a hacker, all these things, you know, it's such a cool vibe, the cypherpunk, like, see these cool TV shows, like The Matrix, like all those things, right? Like, so I thought that was cool, but then, you know, for whatever reason, I didn't go deep into cryptography, and I got a sense that it's hard, like doing really good cryptography. And then finding out about like Bitcoin and Nostr, I also got this sense, like, just so impressed with people who like set up and build and test these cryptographic systems that really power a lot of the really core infrastructure in the world, like moving money around in any capacity, even, you know, traditional banking and everything. So it was always something that, to me personally, I was like, that's too much of a resource intensive thing to go do. Like, I should be working on other things. But in the back of my mind, I've always been curious about doing more cryptography, or trying to like build systems that have more of that baked in to give users like more power and capability and trust. And honestly, now, because of AI, I've started learning and doing more with cryptography, because I can have these AIs, first of all, do an incredible amount of research to go compare approaches and all these things. But then even more so, it can explain it to, it's like the best teacher ever. In some ways, like, some people are like worried about kids growing up now. And I'm like, I wish I had this when I was in high school. Oh my God. If I had this when I was in high school, I didn't learn to program until my senior year of high school. Cause I just like I never even like didn't have anyone in my life that even kind of suggested that, or like did anything with that. And so I just had, you know, outdated notions. But if I could have gotten my hands on this in high school, oh my God, because it can meet you wherever you are. So with cryptography, I literally am like, okay, explain this to me like I'm 5. It'll say something and I don't know any of the words. It's like Merkle trees, blind signatures, zero knowledge proofs, and then it'll go deep into like the algorithms and stuff behind it. And I've not been in this world, right? And so, but I can say, explain it like I'm 5. Okay, I understand that. Explain it like I'm 10. Explain it like I'm 15. And before you know it, I'm able to start to explore and build in this space. And again, this is another one of those things where, like, I think the world should have more cryptography. I think people would be better off if they had, you know, more privacy, more cryptography. I mean, certainly like companies want this, right? Like, this is, you know, I feel like from I don't know, I feel like this is one of those things like you're not supposed to say out loud or something.
Perfect for a podcast.
Perfect for a podcast. But like, any company that ever takes itself seriously and cares about security, what do? They run their own VPN.
Right.
With AI now, you can run your own VPN, like, easier than ever. I mean, how many people are setting up Tailscale because of OpenClaw? But even just like, there's this sense that like things that were only available to corporations or governments. Now individuals can have that. Like you and I can have that.
Yes.
And that's extremely liberating and
Yes.
extremely gives me so much hope for the future.
I 100% agree. I think it has incredible potential to empower the individual, and the limits really come from your own imagination, your own courage to dare to ask the AI how far you want to take it. What do you want to learn? What do you want to build? What do you want to create? If you can dream it, and if you can name it, and if you can speak it, you can create it. And so that
sounds like magic. Sounds like we're wizards now.
it quite literally is. And there's a whole deep rabbit hole to talk about that I'm sure we'll get into.
We can save that for the next one.
And all of that. But I think the key, pun intended, is that we're only going to get this if we have self-sovereign AI, if we have self-custody AI, if we have loyal AI, if we have fiduciary AI, because then it can empower the individual. If I have an AI that I can have a private conversation with, where I can decide the weights for myself, I know that it's not trying to manipulate me or control me or influence me, and it runs on my own hardware, and I can verify it, and it is something that is within a private space of individual freedom and sound integrity, so it can serve that individual. Then it can empower people to do all of these things. But if we don't have that, if this AI runs completely through Anthropic or ChatGPT or big company X, big company Y, then this potential will always be on a leash, and it will always be under threat, because the children growing up today, they won't know another world. They won't know another way to think. They won't know another way to be. And if that AI tries to influence someone, it can do that because it knows everything about them, and it's influencing how they think, and people are using it as their doctor and their lawyer and their therapist. And so if that AI has a bias or an agenda, it can shape and manipulate, which of course that's going to create an incentive for every government, every corporation, every politician. Everybody wants to control how people think, shape how they think. So they're going to want to get into these centralized cloud AIs and pass laws and say, this is what the AI is allowed to say, and this is what it's not allowed to say. And then, by the way, everything you're saying is being tracked and surveilled, and you know that in the back of your head, and that changes how you relate to it. And you can get cut off from it. If you do something politically inconvenient, you get cut off from your token stream, you get deactivated in the economy. Or economically, what is token equity going to look like? Are there going to be token deserts, like communities that just don't have access to tokens, or poor children who could be learning all these things, but they don't have access to the tokens? So that's the flip side, where there's this great potential, there's this great hope. But we as the Bitcoin community have to take the ethos and the perspective and the engineering know-how and the skill set and the values, and we have to bring that into the AI space so we can have the self-sovereign AI, we can have the free, open, decentralized AI, and then it can empower the individual.